Yes, g'day everybody. It is indeed earlier than usual, but I've got so much stuff to get done that, damn it, they're always breaking off those things. Anyway, yep, we've got another 2141 trauma maker, widow maker, whatever. As in, the data leaves the owner, dies, so yeah, becomes the widow maker. It's been a fun day, and just had to write a please explain letter to the solar installation company because I was under the impression that I was limited to a 6.6/5 kilowatt system on this residence. I believe that was pretty standard, but then it turns out that someone else I know, and that is the wrong freaking... No, that's the right screw. They had the wrong screw in there, right. Okay, anyway, yeah, so it turns out someone's getting a 10 kilowatt system installed, and I'm like, what the frick? Because we use a heap of power during summer, and so having a 10 kilowatt system is actually perfectly fine for us because we will use all that power. Anyway, but instead they quoted us, and I accepted on a 6.6, thinking that that was the maximum that I could get. So now I've got to find out what the heck's going on there, because if they have failed to provide that option to us, given that they do know what our bills were because they were actually comparing, say, they even have in their quote like a $1,600 a quarter bill comparison, and this is what you'll save if you go with the 6.6, etc. Anyway, so that's going to be interesting. Unfortunately, if they say, oh well, look, for an extra 10 cents we can upgrade to the 10 kilowatt, just amend your existing install, I probably still won't be able to really go with it, because quite frankly the capital outlay aspect, the monetary aspect, paying for the system, is probably the least traumatic aspect for me. Having people in the house stomping around, having to manage the fur kids, the loss of time and all that sort of stuff, that's the bit that really that's the real cost for me when it comes to work on this house. And I know if they go for a bigger system, they're going to have to also change the inverter, because it's a 5 kilowatt inverter. So obviously they can't go and stick more panels on there, because that inverter will not cope. So yeah, it's all a bit odd and a little bit disappointing. I'm hoping they can just come back tomorrow and say, for your particular residence, based on your grid, because of the electricity company, you are only able to do a 6.6 because of the limitations of the energy company, as opposed to any other constraint. And if that is the case, then it's like, fine, I'm happy with that, I understand, no trauma, away we go. But if they go, we didn't think to offer you, I'll be like, the hell? Because I was even asking about battery options, all that sort of stuff. Anyway, I mean, look, honestly, the system as is, that's installed, it's working perfectly fine. We did 13.5 units today, and that was an overcast day, which is actually... And it wasn't just like mildly overcast, it was genuinely overcast. It even rained a little bit. And we got 13.5 units, so it's pretty good going. Admittingly, that's only like the equivalent of 2.5 hours of normal full day, but anyway, for an overcast, I think you can agree that's quite tolerable. Hey, Yinimar, I was wondering if you'd turn up, given that it was an early stream. Yeah, Pedro, I'm really hoping there's a valid reason because, I mean, strictly from a salesperson perspective, if I was a salesperson at the company, missing out on the opportunity to upsell someone from a 6 to a 10, given that it's like another $5,000-6,000, I'd fire myself. So that's a lot of money left on the table that they didn't go for. So, I'm waiting for Jason Cosgrove to turn up because this is actually one of his systems sent in. Speak of the devil, here he is. Okay, you're not the devil, Jason. You're far too kindly for that. But I had to coin the phrase. Okay. Alright, so we've got to see what's going on with this 1700. It is indeed a 1700. Most of the time for 1700s, the damage is actually not in the, it's either liquid on top over here, or it ends up being corrosion down the bottom one here. Whereas with the 1041s and the 1814s and all that, your main damage is down here. But yeah, on the 1700s and such, it's typically here if it's going to be anywhere. Yeah, I'm not even looking at anything else. So the first thing you do with any of these machines, 1700s, etc., is you check your resistances on the rails. Okay, so that one there's okay. That is the PP bus side, and this is the NAND side. Open. That's a little. And that's the noise we don't want to hear. Why didn't it go like that with this? Oh, there it is. Okay. Yeah, that's the noise you don't want to hear, especially because that was on the NAND side only. If you're going to hear the beeping noise, you really want to hear it on this side and not this side. This side is almost always dead NANDs. Now I'm hoping when I flip this over I'll find a cap that is looking naughty. So fingers crossed we have a naughty cap somewhere. But I'll be honest, it doesn't seem to happen often enough. And if I can't find a naughty looking cap, I will take the V-Reg off. Sometimes you get a bit of issue under the V-Reg. But yeah, bad juju so far. Hey, Patio from Guam. That's a long way from here. 18W. So now that's what you expect to see. 1K, 600 plus. And this is PP bus side, and that's fine. So yeah, you want 600, 400, certainly anything above 400 on the NAND side, and you're okay. Hey, Defcom, you're still working. You're never supposed to stop working. Work is indefinite. We do have a bit of corrosion, but what I'm doing here is I'm actually just looking to see if I can see any defect, like bubble ups on the NANDs. I have had a few where like a little corner section here, or not corner section, but a little side section has just blown itself clear off, or you get a bubble. Often you can't see it under the microscope, funnily enough. I can see it when viewing it freely without the microscope. There's a bit of corrosion there, but that's actually not a problem. Genuinely hoping one of these little buggers is cracked. Just going to take the board off the edge and have a look. Hey, Nelson, Creature. And myself, Laplovsky. Yes, it has actually been a while. You've been avoiding me. I've been too boring, I dare say. $160mm hole saw for air ducts is heavy to drive for the drill and your wrist. Yeah, that's a lot of contact friction to fight against with your wrist. What were you doing with the 100mm cutout saw? There's a bit of junk on that cap, but I think it's just that. It's junk. Funnily enough, there is some corrosion on there, but it's on the wrong side of the regulator. Alright, so we're going to pull the regulator off and see what happens to the resistances then. Installing balanced air in your house. Okay, yeah, that's something I probably should do here. Although, to be honest, instead of balanced air here, I want the inside of the house to be slightly positively pressured. It kind of helps keep all the dirt out. Hey JCT. Let's see. Certainly, creature, I know for your regions, yeah, you do have to really control the amount of heat loss you have out of your places. Like the Australian houses in general are basically glorified tents. We do not really have a good sense of what a well-sealed house is. Not quite sure this house will ever reach anything remotely approaching anything viable in terms of keeping air in. Oh, that's a bad sound. The only thing giving me slight hope here that we actually have a cap fault is the fact that the short is so severe. Like, what is that? That's, yeah, 0.3. That's exceptionally hard as a short, whereas usually when the NANDs fail, we're down to about 3 to 6 ohms. Seeing a below 1 ohm short is somewhat not too common. It's not to say it's not the NAND, but most of the time, if the NAND's short, they are a slightly softer short. Defcom, if you create a genuinely good vacuum, then you probably won't hear her voice for the rest of your life, which won't be for very long. Joy of vacuums. Yeah, Pedro, it's pretty much just the leads. And we're back up. There was that cap there. Oh yeah, I can just see it there. And it was where I was looking, but I just thought it was a bit of junk. But there, you can just see on the right hand corner edge, there's a little bit of splitting. Not the brown mark in the middle, but towards the end cap on the right corner, there's a little bit of splitting going on. And that is the fault. Now, of course, we still don't know if the NAND has actually... We don't know if it's actually still viable. but at least we now have given it a chance. So what I will not put that I will not put that regulator back on. Because it was a short on the output side, then there's a pretty reasonable chance it damaged the regulator. And even if it didn't, I'd rather waste the $10 or whatever it is for these TPS units, replace it, and know that, it's been done right. Because after all, we are dealing with people's data here. And in most cases, you really do only get one shot at it. Is this one place where you can test rig without sending voltage and NAND, or? I'm not really sure, creature. All I know is that you can't disconnect it from the NANDs, at least. I know that much. I don't have a test rig, and even if I did have a test rig, I still wouldn't put the old NAND back. I mean, the old controller back. It's just too risky. I guess risk is relative. Hey, Miles. Yeah, not worth the risk given the cost. To be fair, the TPS 62180s, they were fairly cheap for a while, until these boards started showing up, dying left, right and centre, and all of a sudden nobody's got TPS 62180 regulators anymore. Certainly not new ones. These ones I got from, I think it was DigiKey, but now there's something like a 12-month lead time on them. Oh, the B-Pope. Oh, right, a dummy load. Yeah, no, we can't, unfortunately we can't disconnect the NANDs. Just want to make sure I get my orientation right, so pin 1 down. I'll also need to put a replacement cap back in there, of course. Oh, creature, since you're here, maybe you know. On the earlier MacBook boards, we have a 3.4 volt 342 regulator, which it uses a resistor divider setup. Very occasionally on that setup, the resistor, one of the divider resistors will actually drop in value, as opposed to the seemingly more common behavior of bad resistors, and that is to go up in value. But for some reason on this particular configuration they have this tendency of going down in value, and I don't know why. like what will happen is the resistor voltage will, the voltage of the output will actually start to, I think it drifts upwards, and then you find out that one of the divider resistors has gone down in value. But it's just a little quirky because usually I anticipate resistors to go up as they fail. Oh, that's right, we need to get another cap for here. These are the beloved 20 microfarad 10 volts, which I've only got 10 microfarad 10 volts. Now I can get 20 microfarad 6 volt 3, and I know that this rail is only meant to be 2.5 volts, but it's, I don't know if I'm really trusting Apple enough to actually willingly put a 6.3 volt cap on there on their 2.5 volt rail. I mean, it seems like it should be okay, but the reason why I don't trust it is because they're expensive caps. They're expensive and they're moderately hard to source. And obviously Apple has them, but other than that, no one else really, not even 22 microfarad at that capacity. So, on the face of it, or I should say, thinking about it, I'm wondering what the trick is. Now, I would expect Apple to have definitely dropped to a I don't know. I'm just thinking there's something I'm missing. I feel like I'm missing something in that whole equation, and I feel like it's something that will bite me in the ass if I change it to a 6.3. Have I ever worked in the mines? Do you mean literally in the ground? I have worked the mines just above ground, but not on night shift, just sort of like, you know, early start, 4 o'clock sort of thing, but beyond that, no, nothing. Corrosive failure of laser trim value, corrosion over time, over the trim drops resistance. Okay, I'm willing to accept that explanation. I think that makes sense. Especially considering that in many of those instances there is the presence of corrosion around the area. It's not a behavior I normally see, that's all. So yeah, I thought I'd inquire as to your thoughts, and I'm glad I did. Okay, 600 plus, so that's good. Yep, it's down at 600 at the moment simply because of the fact that the board is warm. When it warms up, it drops resistance pretty quickly. That's good. I'm just double checking this one again because I'm paranoid. It's okay, that's just energy in the circuit. It'll come up. Yep, there we go, that's good too. Hey, hearken. We're finally getting pleasant weather here because it is getting cooler. It is funny though that regardless of whether we're northern or southern hemisphere, for us, in the most part up here, well, at least in the subtropic area, we have the best time of our year the same time that most of the northern hemisphere has its best time of the year. Is that in regards to the RTC? No, Pedro, that's with the 3V42 regulator on things like the 165 and such. You'll remember there's been a few instances where we found that the resistor value on one of the dividers resistors goes up sorry, not goes up, goes down, and causes that 342 to drift. Okay, this is the only way I know how to sanely reinstall a 1700 board. 3 pieces of tape, and it saves you a lot of trauma. If you try to reinstall this board without these pieces of tape or some other trick, you'll be at it for quite some time, and you'll probably tear one of the flexes. Hello Alexi. We already had dinner tonight. Tonight we had tandoori chicken. Admittingly, that was takeaway tandoori chicken at the local Indian store. And it is, genuine Indian as opposed to something just cooking Indian. Because it's still a bit different to, say, like what I would get in South Africa, down in Durban, but it's still good. I don't have it hot anymore. My digestive system strongly objects to me doing that to it anymore. So we just go for good old wholesome tandoori. Keen's curry powder is awesome. Makes good chicken curry, chicken and rice curry, or curry sausages. That's more of a classic Australian. But yeah, yeah. And I perfectly don't mind that. Yeah, this store will no doubt adjust their heat levels according to standard unaware taste buds. That's a good thing, because I mean, really, you don't want to go blowing the taste buds off people just because that's how it's done back at home. Let people get accustomed to it and let them go and explore their alternatives later. Definitely in South Africa it was a lot of fun though. Yeah, you drive back from Durban, heading back up to Johannesburg, and you load up with some bunny chow before heading back. Get your bunny chow in Durban, then head on back to the Highveld. Bunny chow is basically just you take a dirty loaf of bread that hasn't been cut, you pull the stuffing out, and you shove it full of curry. That's essentially what it is. Just had curry snags for tea. Awesome. That's a nice, wholesome sort of meal. Tone it down for the bogans. Well, we're all bogans, aren't we? At least when you get Nando's peri peri, it pretty much is the same. I haven't really noticed a significant difference between the South African Nando's peri peri and the Australian or the ones we've been offered, so I suspect they're keeping that pretty true to it. But again, that's different again. Alright, so we're going to plug this in. This is going to be a do or die scenario. If I've botched something, we may not get a boot. Now, it is possible this will not boot. It's quite likely it's going to need a Apple Configurator Revive boost, but we'll see how we go. I do find most of these machines that recover from this do need to be revived. So what do we got? We've got 400, 600, 700, so it is charging, but it may not come out of that. It may stay in this state. I know we've got a fan spin, so we're probably going to get a boot in a bit. Usually when it's in the DFU mode, it won't spin the fans. Come on, come on, come on up. Give us a logo, please. Okay, fan spin stopped. Oh. Okay, it could be in DFU after all. Yeah, normally I don't get a fan spin when it's in DFU, but it did come up like that. Okay, I'm just going to go switch it over to the other system. Hope and pray this works. Hopefully I didn't miss something else. It's got touch bar on it. Touch bar is not active. I do have click. I don't have cap lock, so I'm hoping it's in DFU mode. Oh, we've got a fan spin again. No, that's ominous. Now what's really going to worry me is if I plug this in and it straight away says this device cannot be supported. Thunderbolt issues. Go. It hasn't immediately come up with that, so alright, so we're going to try the boot sequence. Hold down that power button. 20 seconds or so. Getting these devices to actually go into the DFU mode, that can be fun in itself. Hold down 1 and all the other keys that have to go. Come on. Didn't come up there. Hey, Apple controller, thankfully. And it says it is in DFU mode, advanced, revive, unzipping. I can tell I've obviously done this a fair bit because I didn't even have to download the system. It was already there, probably from the couple I did today. Come on, come on, install. I'm just standing over it, waiting to see if the fans will spin, or whether it's going to give me the dreaded general error, cannot install system or something like that. If it gives me the general error, that's... No, we've got a fan spin, that's a good start. And it's doing it again. Come on, it should give me an Apple logo in the next 20-30 seconds. Come on, please. Not just for me, but for everybody listening in tonight. Mostly just for me. So I can get paid. Still no touch bar, still no logo. It is possible there's secondary issues on this machine. Maybe it has a blown mux or GPU. Wow, still no logo. Yeah, it's starting to become a concern. I mean, it's fine if I can't get display output. There are ways, hopefully, around that. Even if it's just blind typing in the password. But usually by now I definitely have an Apple logo, and we've stopped spinning the fans. God damn it. Still no cap locks. Crap. We haven't come up with an error yet, but I'm kind of thinking it's heading that way. Oh. That's interesting. It's completed the process. It hasn't errored. The fans are spinning. I really do not have a display, so I'm just going to... I've got trackpad, click. I'm just going to see if at some point it gives me cap locks. Yep, I got cap locks. So we actually have a display output problem as well. What a pain in the ass. Did I not plug in the display properly? Maybe I haven't plugged that in properly. I don't know. Let's hope it's just something simple, like, yeah, I didn't plug in the display connector properly. Hey, Jaden here. I mean, it looks and feels like it's in there properly. This does have a mux on it. Oh, shit, yeah, there's something in there. Sorry, apologies for the language. Well, what do you know? At least... Okay, make sure I got the battery disconnected. Tradie Trev, what do you mean? What you do with the little docs from the... Oh, right, I see what you're saying, right. Managing to do the repairs without the typical sort of documentation levels that we should have for trying to deal with complex systems. What'd you miss? Seriously? I thought the display was up in there. Anyway, the point is there was a little bit of the thread lock. A little bit of the thread lock from one of the threads, maybe out of here, one of these ones, had fallen in. Is that microscope not working? We'll just scroll back here. No, that's working. It was completely out of focus. Potato vision, that's weird. I'll double check that when I go back in. Needs to say it was a little piece of blue crap. Let's try this again. Okay, fan spin. Hey, that's what we want. Okay, we want something a little more than just a battery symbol. No, it's not autofocus. None of my system... Oh, this one's autofocus. But the microscope's not. It was slightly out of focus, but perfectly visible. So basically, creature's been a whiny whiner. Unfortunately, Yindi, by default, these type machines no longer give us the classic bong. Instead it's just a quiet whisper. Alright, so that one did survive. Now I'm just going to put it aside and let it charge a bit, and we'll come back to that and we'll get on to the next machine. Oh crap, I've already got another machine in the path. 'Too many machines. I wish I was joking, but I am actually dangerously close to the thrash point in terms of too much stuff in the workshop, and then you start to run out of workable spaces and you enter into the thrash phase. Nope, not you. Okay, we'll get to the next one. Let's put this in a safe location. I don't know if Jason was still watching, but I'm sure he'd be pleased to know that that thing is probably going to boot now. Marcel, tell them to wait on their orders. Looks like this one's been to Apple. I'm going to have to just take the bottom panel off the screen. Can't show people the information. Hey, Dudumras. Yeah, the thrash phase, not the trash phase. Although, to be honest, when you do enter the thrash phase, a lot of things very rapidly become trash. Or go to the trash. Because you're like, that's it, I gotta clear out. Can't have these stupid 2010 machines hanging around here anymore. In the bin you go. Speaking of which, I do have a lot of machines like that which just need to go into the bin. But I'm always worried that I'm going to throw out a chassis. Oh, sweet mercy, this is a cluster. Yeah. It is not a good job, this one. This one's going to be a problem. So we got liquid damage basically all over everything. There's particularly bad there. Found corrosion in various places. No shit. Disconnected battery, machine powers on, fan, pin 5 volts, no chipmunk, no CPU. Yeah. Is this a 1949 or something? I'm not sure. DJ Craze, that is a very distressing way to wake up at times when they attack your feet like that. Milo used to be exceptionally bad for doing that throughout the night. There was one phase where I would pretty much just be getting to sleep, you know, when you're into that dream phase and you've sort of lost yourself from the real world and you're drifting into the dreams. And just as I was getting into that, he would attack my feet and jolt me out of it. And he would do that multiple times every night. And needless to say, I was not a very approachable person for quite a period of time there because of that. It very much does mess you up a lot. A bit like this board. The Dunrose, I do not care for the challenges too much. This one's going to be like a 2-3 hour cleanup. Ah, jeez. I really just, jobs like this I just need to put the lid back on and say, I'm sorry, I can't fix this. because it's going to use 6, 7, goodness knows how many hours, and then it's not going to be perfect when it's finished either. There's no doubt going to be something that doesn't function properly anymore, and you're going to want that to function. This is basically something you sort of decide is going to be a data recovery job and not much else. But unfortunately, unless people submit it as a data recovery job, no matter what you tell them, they almost always will not listen to you. Like if you say, look, we can get the data off for you, and this is where it becomes my fault, and there's a slim chance it might be somewhat usable after that. All they hear is, we're going to charge you a lesser amount for the data recovery, and it's going to work perfectly for you after that. It's that the hopeful listening ears that cause that problem. It's when you make a backup and charge them for them. Even then, I've had people come back to me 2 years after a job and say, "Oh, do you still have a backup for that machine?" It's like, yeah, really? No. Actually, I do. Some systems I do, particularly phones, I do have very long archive backups on them. Usually because I have a small, an old Atom machine, and I have the Windows system on it, but then I have an a caddy mounted drive in the system, and when it fills up with iPhone images, I then just swap the drive out and put a new one in there and continue on. And because I don't really reuse those drives at all, because they're all just like 1 or 2 terabyte ones, they just stack up in my safe. And so I do actually have quite a lot of archive of phone data. I don't actually decode it or anything. They're all just iTunes backups. And every now and then it does come in handy. Someone comes wandering in hoping that I've got the data for them. Set the repair by the hour. Unfortunately, that model doesn't work so well because it's an unknown quantity thereafter for the customer. So instead you have to sort of go by the fixed price model, but you then have to tell yourself that's it, you're just going to have to walk away from this one, call it in as a no fix, and just walk away from it. And if the customer squawks about that, and you're like, well, look, I can't fix it, here's the machine, you take it to whoever you think can fix it, it's all yours. I will take my bench time fee. Why won't oh, that's right, this always gets me every single time. This is also why you do not aggressively rip out circuit boards. You attempt to give it a lift. If it doesn't lift, there may be a reason for it, like the fact that the keyboard flex is still attached. And if it does that, then you're probably almost there, except you also left the Wi-Fi connectors. Wow, that was actually a real disaster. Backlight is completely and utterly dead. Someone's been in here before. No, this one's a goner. That's a goner. The T-Con board. If nothing else, the screen's completely crapped its pants on this. See, I should have just followed with my instinct. See? Did. Very did. It's had a pretty good chewing away on that one too. So yeah, in this case there is literally no reason for me to continue. I mean, there may be like a 1 in 1,000 chance that it is still alive, but based on the other damage, I would say no. Amazingly, the GPU and CPU section, VREG section, is okay. Likewise, let's see, speakers have been hit. Backlight, as I said, has been completely wrecked. I mean, I gotta admit, I mean, the actual SSD, CPU, GPU rail sections haven't been struck, but that there is the real problem, because that now means that there's a portion of the CPU that is damaged. And this one, I'm fairly sure this one does not have a mux. I will check to see if it has the mux. If this has a mux, then it might be recoverable, but nothing else. Yeah, that's been stewing. It's 3217. What the hell? No, that's cactus. Oh yeah, that's big time cactus. Anyway, I'm gonna see what board this is. Okay, I was wrong. The nans are dead in this as well. That there is a VREG for that one there. So yeah, the nan's dead, the CPU's dead. But I still want to see what board this is. But what I was referring to before is this section here and this section here. It's all good. That's normally the parts that get struck out by liquid damage pretty quickly, and they missed the assault. But everything else, got it. 3217 looks immaculate. Honestly, when I get boards like this, there is a temptation to pull those parts, because you know the board is dead, and you know those parts are worth, you know, they're hard parts to get a hold of. But you don't do it. Unless you can get explicit permission from the owner, don't do it. The lifeboat thing didn't last very long, which was unfortunate because I do have one of those now. But I'm struggling more just to find the damn number of this board. Oh, there we are. Yeah, it's a 1987. Okay, I thought it might have been 1949, but 1987. Marcel, the CNC project basically hasn't gotten anywhere since that first time I moved it around. I simply haven't had the time. I mean, I do need to get into it, and I just don't have the time. So yeah, this is a no fix for sure. It's one of those no fixes where you have no hesitation. If it was going to save the world, I would consider giving it a chance. But it's most certainly not that in this instance. That, or if there was a chance I'd have a dinner date with Nathan Fillion, yeah, I'd consider it, but yeah, not happening. As long as he wears his brown coat. So this is the painful part, where you essentially have to put back together a dead machine. If it was your own thing, you just throw it in the bin. But this is someone's machine, so you do have to prep the corpse, as it were. Be a MacBook mortician. Though in this case we're not going to wash the corpse. Is Disney reviving it? Oh, I don't know. Don't know at all if Disney's doing anything, but I can't imagine they would include the original crew. I suspect they would go for a whole new crew, since it's been a considerable amount of time and they probably want to go for a new audience. So I don't know how successful it'll be with a new cast, but you never know, it might work out. Some reboots work well, a lot do not. For fuck's sake. Forgot the damned cooling shroud. Fortunately, this one you can actually be a bit dirty and slip it in. There we go. Embalming. Yeah, I'm not going to embalm this one, yeah. Crew will be young and diverse. I thought they already were. To a degree. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more. Maybe they could do a series run for a young Shepherd book. I think that would have been a very interesting series to watch. Because he was one of those characters that you really wanted to know more about. You didn't get the opportunity to. Oh, I see. Diverse is sort of diversified in what its meaning is. As long as I don't try and go too much like Star Trek Discovery season, whatever it was. I can't think, it was 3 or 4. I think it was season 4. The last one they had on Netflix. Mostly because they just simply spent so much time on that rather than on Star Trek being Star Trek. What's this Batwoman? Haven't seen that. I gotta admit, these days, if I get a moment to not have to do work, then at the moment I've been playing pretty heavy on the old 7 days, getting that mining rolling. Right now I'm constantly running out of lead. It's a bit frustrating. I've got everything else that I need. I've got coal, nitrate, iron. What the hell, Paul? What's with this screw? I feel like that was actually misplaced. I'm still looking for my crucible. Damn crucible. I think I'm just going to have to put skill points and become an advanced engineer. And at least then I can make the crucible by default. But they definitely do not make that easy. I suppose because they figure, well, when you get crucible and you can make forged steel, there's not really much else we can do beyond that. So we're going to make that take a while to get. Hey Patrick Mill. What's this? Star Trek Lower Decks is a perfect... I don't know Lower Decks. Then again, I'm not the biggest of Star Trek people. Like if you said to me, you know, Star Trek or Star Wars, yeah, I'd be like, I don't know, either or both. Why not both? That said, Star Wars is sort of, yeah. Was there any upward trend in how good it was? Aside from, I mean, essentially from Empire Strikes Back, it sort of just had a downward trend. Empire Strikes Back was sort of like peak movie, and then down it went. Jason, yes. Well, I'm just about to check because we've got the charging logo up. And now I need to see if we actually will get a boot. And this one here I'm just reassembling because it's a complete disaster. Yeah, The Matrix. Yeah, well, The Matrix was sort of like the first movie, excellent, and they should have just left it alone. I mean, the second movie had promise, but then when they went for the whole, yeah. I mean, I get it. You know, making sequels and stuff like that, it's hard work. It really is. Particularly if you've sort of scripted yourself into a corner and you're like, well, what are we going to do here? Anyone know how to undo the speed limiter on a Bafang 520? Oh, you got a Bafang 520? I wouldn't mind an electric bike up here because the post office is 3 kilometers away. I can walk to the post office quickly enough here. But in all honesty though, it'd be a very stupid thing for me to have a bike up here because most of the time the roads aren't meant for bikes. People are not aware of bikes. There's drunken idiots all over the place. I would probably get killed. In fact, it would be safer for me to have a normal motorbike. I just get an electric version of the normal motorbike. But in saying that, it would be unsafe for me to have one because Elita would kill me. I sold my motorbike quite some time ago now, my last one, and you know, at least I got all the good memories of riding around in my youth. All the times I nearly died because I was an idiot, like a youth. Thankful for the fact that I did survive. A little bit sorry that I put my mother through that sort of hell. Thankful that she at least had the faith to, well, I don't know if she had the faith, but she was like, well, what can you do? And it kind of helped that my father was also a motorcyclist, so yeah. I think if I was ever to do motorcycling again, it would probably be on racetrack. You know, track days, things like that. It wouldn't be on the road. The road's just too iffy. Got a 332 board with a rubber GPU V-Core chip. Oh yeah. Resoldered that chip. 2 hours of stress in the valley, no issues. Custom comes back stuck on the MacBook logo, full loaded bar. Oh, yuck. Sorry, I just got to write on this dead and put a sad face on it. Funnily enough, Apple's suggestion sticker on there says replace logic board. That's not going to cut it. That screen's dead as well. And so is the tracker. The whole machine just needs replacing. Yeah, your 3332 issue. Locking up like that. What could cause that? It's not the VRMs, because that's not on the 3332, at least not that type of fault. I'd almost suggest that maybe it's a ME issue. If it's... Is it locking or... Yeah, I could almost suggest ME issue, but I doubt it would be that because... Not sure. Oh, that sounds promising, Jason. That's your machine booting. And we have an Apple logo. And we have a login screen. And we have... Interesting, it's not the name that is on... It's not the name that's on the sticker, Jason, but I'm hoping it is the person. Yeah. Anyway, so that's it. That's up and running. You get my big head out of the way. 01700 saved. That's a nice feeling to get those saved. Like I said, usually if I can get to them before anyone else has, not anyone else, yeah, if you can get to them before someone else who doesn't have a lot of experience with the 1700 or the 1041 or the 1814, if you can get to it before they do and the conditions are right, then you've got a decent chance of capitalizing on any chance that it has. But I find most of the ones I can't recover these days tend to be that there's been previous hands in there. Most often what will happen is they will see the corroded caps and they pop them off and then they fire the machine up and that's when it dies. What is the EMI? Electromagnetic interference or... Oh, Private, I saw your comment today about throw it in the dumpster. Was it throw in the dumpster or throw in the bin? Either way, I saw that, yeah. Yes, I do occasionally read comments. Every now and then one will come up and I'll go, huh. We do have something different here since looks like I've run out of MacBooks to repair tonight. So we're going to have to go with the Lenovo. Thank Keith McDermott. Let's see. Bought an A1286 for 10 quid. Parts, the machine is working but the screen. Is it the screen? What year is yours, Keith? Did you get 2012 or 2011? 2012s are okay for the 3330 board. No, I just realised I got another machine. Yeah, I left it out and the Keith actually reminded me. And funny enough, I'm hoping this is a 3330. Okay, yeah, you got the 2012, cool. Is it screen actually at fault, or is it like the logic board not generating something? If we get through this, we'll go back to the Lenovo, but the Lenovo's low down on the queue. Hey there, Jim. Wow, this is kind of a very clean MacBook up the top, so I think it's only respectful that I clean my workbench again. I mean, we have had a couple of machines across here, including one that's very liquid damaged. So I think it's fair that we clean our bench as a sign of respect. There we go. Really, I should be doing that every computer. Okay, so what have we got? 1343. Computer has power, the screen is black. Local PC guy seems to think it's either backlight, isn't working, or possibly a screen or circuit issue. Shane in the USA advised. That would be Shane from Rossman Repair, I believe. Thank you, Shane, for your advising. They'll probably like, oh god, don't send us an Australian one. And he'd yell out to Lewis, who in Australia can we harass? And Lewis would be like, send it to Paul F. and Daniels. With a laugh. Hinge is broken and a white screen looks like a crack. White screen, yeah, that could be VRM. One of the caps, it's the, oh god, what is it? It's not the 7771, I think. Anyway, I'm hoping this one is a 3330 board, in which case it's usually a cap fault. Oh, that's a very, very clean but terrifying machine. Very clean machine, actually. A little bit of dust up here, but really, this is shockingly clean. Oh, wait, there's some... Is it liquid? No. You can usually pick up liquid ingress on these if you look in through the grill slots. And there's nothing there, it's just dust. Right, I've got to remember how to pull these things apart. Alright, first job, we'll get the hard drive out. And I'm going to make a recommendation that they move to a solid state drive, because that thing has got to be truly ancient by now. One 343. It's a little bit naughty of me, but I'm going to write the number on the back here. I do not like having the risk of devices floating around outside of the machines that may get lost. The panic is very real for me when that happens. Okay, someone has taken my tri-wing. Son of a guns. I guess I don't really need to take the battery out. That's actually... I'm amazed it's not puffed up. We also need a T6 for this board. No. No. Dear God, tell me, where's my T6? 1PR, PHO. Well, I might have to wing it with a T5. Alright, the first thing I want to do is actually see if this will even boot. We'll plug that back in. MagSafe 1. No, we got nothing. Seriously? Not a nix. Try the other orientation. Still nothing. I gotta hear something. Oh, it's just the damn cable. Oh, I'm not getting any MagSafe output on that. It's not to say that the machine is faulty, so I'm just going to get a genuine Apple unit and see what happens. Hey India Mara, let's see. Watch the video on Starlink internet speeds. Bloke Wingy was only getting 120 meg per second. Yeah. It's like Man, you got a tough life there, buddy. Can't watch 4 streams of 4K concurrently? Oh no. Okay, it looks like it's my MagSafe cable from the power supply. Interesting. I'm not getting any cap locks. Oh, see those click because they're just going to see if I've got. Okay, we definitely do not have backlight. It has booted from the stick, but we do not have backlight. This just fell out from somewhere. I think from there maybe. Alright, so backlight failure. Maybe. Still, 120 a month. That's pretty decent considering considering it's satellite. When I pay 80 a month for mine, let's just get this board out and have a look. There may be corrosion somewhere. I think when you consider that the Starlink is satellite based and everything else, it makes you appreciate that 120 is actually quite amazing, really. Fans out. It has been long enough that I'm actually kind of having to remind myself of my disassembly sequence for these boards. I don't know why I put those in there. Speaking of phones, I'm trying to look at jumping up to the another. Damn it! Sorry, just trying to think of jumping up to a slightly better data plan at the moment. I've got like a $25 unlimited SMS, but only about 1 gig. Actually, I don't even think I get 1 gig a month. I think I get 500 megabytes a month with Vodafone. But the trouble is, like with my web hosting, Niemann, you fucked that up. I gotta find that T6 little bastard of a thing's around here somewhere. I know it is because I was looking at it the other day and I thought, you know what, I need that on my bench because I'm gonna encounter one of these boards sooner or later. And lo and behold, it's now sooner. Hey Costas, Telstra have 1 gig unlimited calls and SMS for 10 months. That sounds suspiciously cheap, especially coming out of Telstra. My brain says to me that there's a gotcha in there somewhere. Yeah, my brain tells me there's a trap in there. Maybe it's in conjunction with something else. No picking on us Starlinkers. Oh, no, no, no. I'm not picking on the Starlinkers as such. I'm picking on the complainers of the Starlink. And of course the other thing is it's going to get faster over time. As they add more satellites, it's going to get faster. Personally, I find it's a rather impressive investment. Astronomers complain about Starlink, yes they do, but then again, the tax money allows them to have things like the James Webb Hubble, really, Paul? Really? You're going to go with that mash of words? That was really terrible. The James Webb telescope. Can't believe I said Hubble. Yeah, this is one of the scary things that is, fortunately, or should not be, should not result in a snap, but it's basically the plastic is attached itself. The speaker assembly and the... Please tell me I'm right. Bitcoin on the cheap now. Yep. Yeah, it's just here and here. Yeah, I don't know how crypto is going to go. I mean, I guess it'll drop down for a bit and then it'll revive, and someone with the right connections will invest early enough, and then they will organize a reasonable promotional campaign, and it'll help push the perception of the crypto back up again. 2 gigs for 10. Oh. Okay, so we've got backlight problems. Alright, let's have a look at the... here. Probably should have measured the... I suppose I simply want to have a look at the board first. Given the age of it and the fact that by the feel of trying to extract it just then, it has never been removed from that case. And it is indeed a 3330 board, so that's a good sign. Got a little bit of corrosion down here. Fortunately, it's primarily just surface stuff. I'll have to get that speaker off. I wonder if it's just the screen itself, and maybe the backlight array has failed. Not sure if I've got a 3330 donor board, test board. iRepair, have they got... Does it have the original SSD in it, or have they got a third party like OWC SSD in it? It's definitely a very clean board for its age, no question about it. No damage on there. Hmm. Actually going to have to bring up the board view and schematic for this one because it's been too long for me to remember the details I need. Oh no, you're not responding because you opened the file dialog, you dimwit. I am contemplating switching over to a internal file dialog because at the moment Flexboard View and OpenBoard View, they use the system file dialog and it works mostly, but it is definitely more programming drama in some ways, and you don't have consistent behavior between the operating systems. And of course, it pops up as a separate window rather than being something integrated into it. Yeah, it's yeah. But there's a couple that are based on this user interface system, the ImGUI, but I'm not 100% liking them yet. Okay, so the SSD is original. Oh, right. Because I know with things like the OWCs or some of the other clones that use just the NVMe adapter, although you've got a 3332, so some of them can have trouble with the wake-sleep process. So we know our comms must be okay, but the backlight is the question. The reason why the comms must be okay is because it is generating data. If it wasn't generating data, then we'd be concerned about, is it even detecting the screen? L9701. The first thing I'm going to do is check that fuge. Fuge? Did I just say fuge? I did. Oh my goodness. Fuse. Jim, having a little bit of a rage moment with the new solar, simply because I'm worried that they failed to suggest to me that I might be able to get a 10 kilowatt system. And I signed up for a 7. Signed up for a 6.6 because we've got the roof space for it. And what? No wonder it doesn't look like a fuse. God damn it. F9700 is what I'm after. Struggling with the brain tonight. Okay, F9, there it is, yeah. And there's the actual driver right there. It's like the 165s. Alright, Zyropart, well, I hope you have some good luck there. Tragically, the backlight fuse is intact. What doesn't help on this board is that the parts are kind of spread out over a fairly wide area. I'm just going to see what the diode mode of the feedback pin is. Not enough coffee. I do believe you would be correct. 5.9, that's pretty good. Alright. It's frustrating dealing with the backlight on this situation because you can only test one side while it's in the chassis, or you can try and snake it out and flip it over, but it is a bit of a pain. So what we'll do is we'll plug it back in and we'll measure to see if we're getting any voltage on that backlight output. Do the bulbs go out of it? Yeah, they do occasionally. I'll have a look at that connector too. Yeah, you only need one LED, although there's usually 6 segments in there, so if one goes out, you just get a stage light effect, as opposed to all of them. That connector looks perfectly good. Man, it's getting hot in here. Must be the menopause. These ones are LED on the backlight, so they won't do the yellow tone that the CCFLs will have. But yeah, the CCFL ones, they will do that disgusting yellow tone as they die. But it's winter, creature. It's winter. We have temperatures in the 20 Celsius range. The lowest we ever really get here is around about 3 Celsius. And that doesn't last very long. You maybe have one of those mornings every couple of years, and that's it. Because it depends on where you are in Australia. I know Adelaide and Melbourne, Tasmania can get a little bit harsh. It's still all relative. Alright, so there's 3 pins down the bottom. You can't even see. Squeak. Okay, the last 3 pins down there, that's our backlight output. So we're going to measure that when it's running and see what we get. Let's see if we switch over to voltage mode before I forget. Set voltage mode. Thank you. Why are you not working? It's kind of weird. Let's plug a chipmunk in, and at least that way I can tell if I am actually getting power. Nada. Nada nix. Ah, there we go. Got the power. That was just weird. It was just being difficult. Okay. 25 volts. That's pretty much right down the middle. So yeah, we've maybe got a break in the cable, or the screen is, yeah, because 25 volts, that's perfectly decent. I repair it all. It might be worth copying that solid state drive. It could be on the verge of failing. Alright, so 25 volts on the backlight output, but we've got no backlight going on here. 2 possibilities. Well, 3 really, I suppose. There's a break in the line, but that's a little unusual because you usually get 25 volts when it is actually putting into a load. It could be that the brightness has been turned right, but no, that doesn't really make a lot of sense either. This is one weird ass fault. Let's see if I can go find another screen. Yeah, that is just downright weird. The more I think about it. Let's see, what have we here? A disaster. Oh, look at all you poor neglected computers that no one's loved. Nope, you are not a 333-2. There's a lot of neglected computers down here. Let's go in the other workshop, see if there's any 333-2s. 333-0. Let's see. Well, you're heavy, I'll grant you that much. Hmm. "25 volts, wrong polarity." There you go. That's a good answer. Okay, this one's got pinstripe effect, but at least it'll let us know whether we've got an output generation issue or something like that. I will say 25 it's a little on the low side, and then it also depends on how my meter is reading that. Yeah, if maybe it's a very low duty cycle, high frequency output, and the meter is simply picking up the peaks. This is one of the very few instances where, in fact, yes, a DSO, well, just a scope CRO would be possibly useful. But in the absence of that, we just simply use another screen as a differentiator. Yeah, DEFCON, that's right. They usually are a little bit on the higher side, so that's why I'm kind of 50-50 on this. It may be the screen is fine and that we're just not boosting up. It could be that the brightness signal, PWM signal coming into the backlight driver is not coming from the CPU properly, and it's just sitting at 25, which is the bare minimum. And as it is currently, I can't even get the bloody thing to... Oh, there we go. I suppose one way to do it is I can do a PRAM reset. Yeah, still nothing out there. I know it's definitely putting the data out, but yeah, we've definitely got no output. So at 25 volts, I would say maybe it's just simply too dim to see. And so maybe we do not have a proper... Okay, there is a way we can test this. We just simply hijack the PWM signal, pull it up high. Fault. So here we have this signal here, backlight PWM. And what we can do is we can just yank that up to 3 volts. Miles, I already know that it is generating the data. That much I already know. I can see the Apple logo through the screen. Now the problem I'm having here is I'm actually trying to find where I can steal 3 volts from. Here we go, 3v3SO. Let's see if there's anything closer. Ah, right. Okay, so there, and connect it. So basically, if we bridge from here to here, it will force the driver to just go flat out. And I'd say, you know, what, 100k is probably. Yeah, I'd say we go 100k, and that should be fine. Might be easy to try resetting param first. Yeah. Maybe. I just have a feeling it's not going to be that. Which of course means now it's going to be that. Give me a 603. Hell, a 1206 would probably do it. David, I did indeed check the views. Well, this certainly won't cure it, but at least it'll give us an idea. My God, look at this. This is a 1206 resistor. Ones where you can actually read the writing on them. It's amazingly large. In fact, I can probably just... Yeah, look at that. The nice thing is it'll be, it's not going to be insulated against that point there though. So it's going to touch that. It is genuinely a bit ludicrous. I do concur. It's almost big enough that I could fit a rat tail resistor in there. Oh, Defcom, don't rely on me for anything like that. You're the one that works on the fancy gear. The only reason why I'm going with this initially is because I know there have been incidents in the past where for whatever reason we do indeed lose the PWM signal for some reason, and I know this is exposed, by the way. This is only for tests. This is definitely not long term. Anyway, we effectively are stuck then with either having no brightness or full brightness. Like I said, this is purely to test. This is not in any way, shape or form a good soldering job, because by God I'm making a mess of this. Oh my, wow. Wow, what's going on here? Mr. Daniels. Oh, what in the fluff? Technical difficulties, please stand by. The fluff that was on the tip of that flux dispenser, it was like it just been... I don't know how I ended up with so much solder blobbing up there. That was weird. Anyway, I probably just lost a dozen customers there. Now that's actually a 200k resistor. Now in this particular application it really shouldn't matter too much about the resistance, because it's a signal sensor reading, it's not a power transfer. You know, it's not like a BJT transistor where you got to feed through base current to get the effect you're after. This is purely just, you know, minimum amount of current transfer as possible. Anyway, enough jibber jabber. Let's get down to the brass tacks, as they say, and actually test it. I'm kind of hoping that does not fix it, to be honest, because if it does, it's going to create interesting issues. Man, why is it that so many MagSafes only work in one direction? If at all. Hoo-hoo! Can we get some power over here? There we go. The other handy thing about using a 200k resistor is that if I wired that up to a high voltage line, then it, in theory, shouldn't do any real damage. Within reason. Come on, give me something. You're going to tell me this screen's got a fault too. Nothing. That's peculiar. What am I missing here? Well, on the upside, I'm happy about that, because it means it's not a PWM line issue, which means I don't have to do the compromise situation. That's very weird. Alright. The other thing that does also eliminate is that even if it was a PRAM fault, it probably isn't now, because we've essentially forced it to go full brightness and it still didn't do anything. I need to actually check the voltage on the other side just to see if it changed. Just, oh, what do I care? It's a test screen. The other possibility could have been, maybe it was in sleep mode, but we shouldn't get anything on the output then. Okay. What's going on? Why are you not booting up? Seriously? Oh, I know why it was doing that. That actually did go to sleep then. If I do that, it'll probably pick up the magnet in the screen and put it to sleep. It's going to hold off for a little bit because it's going through a boot sequence. But yeah, that's why it wasn't coming up. Oh, shite. Just... yeah, voltage measurements. Fun stuff. Yeah, it had me confused there for a second why it wasn't bothering to boot. Now, the reason why it persists in booting is it needs to finish the process before it can shut itself back down. 25 volts still. That is very weird. Maybe I did that wrong. Maybe I've got... yeah. Def pump, that could be it. Mine, yeah, I mean, yeah, that's possible. Let's check diode mode on that. Something I probably should have done before I actually connected that up, but yeah. Hindsight. 0.45, no, that's okay. Interesting. Creature, yes, without a screen load it should either be at 50 or 0. Usually it'll be 50 if it is fairly sure it's got a screen, it's generating, but there's no load on it. At this point, I don't know. At this point, I would consider changing the driver itself. It may be an issue that for some reason it's not responding. It's not changing according to demand. It could also be a diode issue, could be an output cap issue, could be a bad inductor issue. Like if the inductor is dud, then it, even when it's going flat out, there's not enough energy being transferred from the inductor to the caps. You don't see that too often though. So yeah, I repaired it all. Good luck with that board, eh? Creature wants to blame the caps. But they're nice juicy caps. But usually when you have issues with the caps, it will give you partial brightness, not complete loss. I should check that fuse again to make sure that it's not a zombie fuse. It's not a bridge there, that was just a piece of fluff. Let's see what the resistance across that fuse is. .13 ohms, that's pretty good coming out of these leads. Sorry, don't mind me, I'm just mulling over a couple of things. I'm just going to check the I2C lines. 75357. What? Why would they do that? Yeah, I gotta love it when they put clock and data line resistors. These are just bridging resistors. Okay, that's fine. But I love when they split them away from each other. That's fine. Yeah, I'm erring towards the drive. Just a little unusual that it's steady like that, but yeah, I just want to check my diode mode on those lines as well to see if that they are in fact balanced. So ideally we should get the same, if I can just remember where I was meant to be going. 414. Yes, there's a bit of a disparity there. So normally I'd expect that 414, 431. So you know that's what is that? 5% difference. That is actually reasonably different compared to what I would expect. Normally I anticipate those lines to be within about 1% of each other. So yeah, we'll pull the driver and see if that corrects that disparity. Well, this one isn't shorting to ground as such, but yeah, we are getting the 25 volts output, but there could be something with the signaling that it's not getting, like maybe it's not getting the instructions from the SMC or something. Anyway, we're going to find out by pulling it. It's a little bit trickier on this particular machine because the machine is in such good condition, so it's hard to go around blaming corrosion or anything else. As always, Always so tricky to get, hard to get these drivers off. They really are in areas where they suck up the heat. There's certainly no corrosion under there. I'll check those I2C line readings now. They're going to be a little bit squirrely because of the heat. 387. Yeah. Yeah. See, we've got that disparity still. I mean, I know they're not. Yeah, they're not balanced pair, but not balanced pair. Why do I always forget the proper name for this? I should know because I do it use it all the time. But anyway, yeah, they're not like USB lines or display data lines where you have the NMP. Differential pairs, that's it, yeah. They're not differential pairs. But I still usually expect them to be pretty close. Hey, Catherine. LP8550. Yep, last one on this strip. And pin 1 is towards the connector. Now what's likely going to happen here is that if this does work, there are going to be comments saying you should have replaced the driver in the first place. It's the most common thing to do, rah rah rah. And unfortunately, the reality of the matter is that if you start doing that sort of thing, then you end up potentially creating more trouble, more dramas, more issues for yourself in future repairs, rather than start with the simplest options and work your way up. Sure, there's going to be examples, like if this one does work, there's going to be examples where you ended up going through a whole bunch of stuff, whereas if you just changed the driver, you would have been done in 5 minutes. But it's easy to... Let's try and get this thing to sit down. The damn things are so frustrating to get to sit down. Yeah, it's easy to focus on the times where the methodical process didn't work out to justify just doing the outright replacement initially, and ignore the number of times that the methodical process actually saved you from having to replace something pointlessly. I kind of cooked that a little bit longer. Anyway, no matter what process you take, there's going to be naysayers. Just like I'm naysaying the people who just go in and replace the LP8550 straight up. It looks pretty good. It's a bit like with that A2141 that we just saved. things like that you really do have to be methodical with, because you're dealing with the people's data, and with those boards in particular, you basically get in the one shot and that's it. Alright, this board's probably going to be a little bit hot, but well, better hot than not. Just kidding, that makes no sense at all. Creature, of course, is going to shove his hand up and say, I told you to check the output caps first. And I'm sort of just didn't go with that, I must admit, because I'm not feeling it being the output caps, but then I am being hypocritical there, I must agree. The point is, do as I say, not what I do. Oh man, this, I don't know whether it's this or whether it's this, but my gosh, it's... Maybe it's the SMC after all. Hey, finally. Jeez, that was a pain in the ass. Still nothing. God damn. I'm going to measure the voltage on that PWM line. And hopefully not freaking short something out in the process. Like I said, if it was the PWM line, I would have expected, in all honesty, for that to have been resolved by, unless I have to actually short it to 3v3, and I'm not a big fan of doing that, not even close, but maybe I need a little more in there. Let's see, PWM. Okay, we are not getting a PWM signal. Son of a bloody good for nothing SOB. Well, let's see, I could short that to that and see if we get instant bright. Oh, we do. We are working. It is working. What the hell? Okay, the question is, did that start to work because I probed... Did that start to work because I probed the PWM line? You know how sometimes when you touch a particular line, your body capacitance, or not body capacitance, just the effect of plugging the signal on, the multimeter probes and all that, can influence that line to make things work. So I guess the right thing to do here is to do that and try again. Yeah, stuck gate. And if that is the case, then if we look at the schematics, so we probed here. This is the junction. We put the multimeter probe here to measure the voltage. Previously we put the 200k resistor from here up to 3.3 volts. Now what I'm going to have to do is wait for this to go cold again and see if it behaves. Okay, so green light. It will take. It was just taking a bit longer too because of the fact that um, this is not its default boot device. I don't know whether this MagSafe is misbehaving or not, but see how it doesn't come up? And I get a very dim green light. There's something else at play here. And now that's faded out. I'm gonna go get another MagSafe thingy wingy. Yeah, you're no good, you're a dead one. See if I got any in here. Oh, my apologies, folks. $25.65, $25.65. Can you replace MagSafe 1 with MagSafe 2? Good question. I don't know whether it's just a physical interface difference or there's some different signaling. Given the fact that it's probably some signaling difference, given the fact that you... Oh god, this is being truly obnoxious. You try to put a 165 onto a MagSafe 1 cable with a 1 to 2 adapter and it does not work. Hey, say what? So we should have started getting something by now. Okay, I can see the Apple logo, but definitely not running. So let's, the Apple logo's there. We're not getting any output, so now let me see if I can get my glasses and do this. The beard is getting pretty long. It's half-half. Half-half. Oh. That is weird. That came on... Very strange. Yeah, I'm thinking 9704 might be a bit suspicious here. Oh, you know what? I forgot to check to see whether... Okay, we'll do it this time. But see this behavior? Where it's not coming up? Automatically, that is. Something very squirrely wrong with this machine. Okay, we're up. I'm just gonna... so we can watch that rail. Okay, so I'm on PWM. And as you can see, we're up nothing. And it'll be interesting to see if it jumps up. Well, it should do. I suppose the strange thing here is the fact that it jumps up, if it does do it again in the same spot, is that it jumps up predictably, which does somewhat seem to make it a configuration issue, as in software. Hey, Mr. Stumps. Welcome. Come on. I'm seeing it dip now. Just dropped to 4.5. Here it comes. And there we go. PWM being driven to 2 volts. Yeah, that's peculiar. Gonna be funny after all that if it really is a PRAM. Press on the board near the VRAM left side screen mark comes reflect slightly. Oh, g'day Stephen. The only thing is that this predictably comes up now at exactly the same time of the boot process. So Defpom might get himself a win on this one. Travis said that's what I was meaning by Defpom might get himself a win on this one. What's the time? 9:55. Gonna want to be finished this up very shortly because I've got other things to do in my life, including giving Micro his insulin. I also have to make sure Alita isn't huddled up in some corner terrified of everything because she's been mining in 7 days and she's not normally the sort of, she doesn't like mining, you know, she doesn't like being underground, the disorientation and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, I completely get it because I'm not too dissimilar myself, but yeah, she made some strides and is now doing some solid mining underground. Well, yeah. But I gotta make sure she doesn't get trapped or something. So yeah, well, it'll be good if it's a win. It'll be good. A win's always a win. Even if I have to cop some laughter, I'm still happy to take that win. The MagSafe thing though is really peeving me off. Oh right, it's not even showing that, damn you. I can do the NVRAM reset from within my boot stick. while I'm waiting for that to come up, I am going to be looking at the board view and schematic. Okay, looks like, has that come up yet? Yeah, it's still booting. Okay, so it looks like that actually comes out of the Gmux. As opposed to the SMC. This is the 15-inch one. It's still booting. It's probably a little bit ticked off that I did what I did to it. And like I said, I do not have a green light on the MagSafe connector, but oh well. Can't quite see what the progress bar is at. It is taking too long, but that could be because I shut the power down on the USB stick before, and so it has to clean itself up. And it doesn't help that I don't have the fans installed, so it's probably getting hot. Probably wouldn't hurt to put one in. The Apple logo is there. I think it might be getting too hot. Oh, there we go. Maybe we have a bad SMC. What the? That's why it was taking too long, because it wasn't even going off my stick. Now it is. Brightness control is very normal. So in terms of, yeah. Anyway, let's do the NVRAM reset. Jason, why do you torture me so? Is it not enough that I've fixed up the 1700 for you? Will the demands never end? Let's see, sudo nvram -c. That should be that. Just going to put a fan in because it's getting a little warm. I think I heard a Momo a few moments ago. Let's go check if that was Momo. Nope, it wasn't. For those who are unsure, Momo is the alternate name for Milo, and he often gets up on the air conditioner and then calls out to me and demands to be given attention. Nope, wasn't an MV RAM reset either. Wow. That is really interesting. This is an interesting fault. So it wasn't the MV RAM set either. We know it functionally can work, but there seems to be something causing it to not switch over for some reason. So we know the backlight circuit works perfectly fine. It's the signaling or routing of the PWM through to it. We'll try the keyboard version then. Command Apple PR. It's certainly interesting, whatever the issue is. Yeah, I can run MRI, but I'll just try the keyboard forced. And there, look at that. Straight away that came up. Yeah, that's probably fixed it. Its screen is on, so I consider that fixed. Seen the Gmux go bad from a dodgy Thunderbolt. I had one blow up 3 times. What? The same one? Alright. That is weird. That is especially weird, the fact that we cleared the MV RAM from within the system, and yet it took the keyboard version. Although I'm going to wait for this to finish booting, fully shut down, and then come back up. Because this is the trap time. This is the trap point where you run off to the customer and you say, I fixed it, it's working. I can't believe it. After all this bloody work, it finally works. Send me your money. And then you shut it down properly, it gets cold, and you ship it off to the customer and they get it, and it's like, it ain't bloody working, mate. And you go, but it was working, yeah, honest. Alright, so here we go. Let's hope we have a win here, because I think we've got a win. Alright. This is a win. Very interesting. Yeah, Defcom. I was kind of curious. I wonder if there is an extra parameter I can pass on the command line one that would actually do the same effect. Because I know when you do the password unlock, it is something that you have to do the multiple reset before you can safely let go of it. But for this, nah. No, you're quite right, Miles. Voice acting is not my thing, nor is singing. Not that I ever tried to present myself as such a person. Well, there you go, Defcom. You got that one on your badge list. I guess the thing that I'm gonna now wonder is why the hell didn't the original tech try that? Then again, it looks like it was a local PC guy, so maybe he's not used to MacBooks. So that could explain that. But yeah, it would just be the normal sort of thing I would expect to be tried. But then this does come back to the same old problem of when you when it's come to your hands through another tech, you presume that they've done a certain number of things, or certain preliminary checks or tests or things like hitting the pram reset. But time and time again, you are shown that that is not always going to be the case, as in this particular instance. So, and even again with the command line reset, it still didn't do it. So we had to do the keyboard one. So, yeah, it's very frustrating in some way, important to note in another. It is actually running a bit slow, so we may have other issues at hand. And more to the point, I think, is how did it even manifest originally? Hey Nate. It seems like we are not specifically out of the waters yet, because this is now not booting properly. This is stuck. Stuck in a way that almost makes it feel like it's feels like it's now got a ME region issue, the way it's just stalling there. Yeah, that stall it's got there on the progress bar, that's often an ME issue. Not always. Often it's also a bad stick. Yeah. So we solved one problem, but we may have walked into another. I'll just get the MRI stick, if I can find it. And if the MRI boots and clears fine, then I'll just assume it's a bad stick on my side. No, because that's stuck there. Gonna see how the MRI goes. Nate, that's an interesting fault. I would be looking. Hmm. It's entirely possible that Linux isn't causing it to crash because Linux isn't accessing some aspect of the board. Being a 165, unfortunately, the MRI standard isn't going to help, which would have. If you can find a modified version of the MRI that supports the 165, the 2014 boards onwards, that might help you pin it down. But it does kind of sound like there's a chip or a sensor or a facility that macOS is accessing that Linux is not. Or it could just be a bad RAM somewhere. Okay, so we've got some issues here. It could be just maybe fan issue. Something's got a problem there. Oh yeah, camera's not connected, fair enough. Fan battery is crap. So what's this? Light sensor, okay, yeah, that's fine. That's because I don't have it plugged in, funnily enough. Yeah, so this here about the MagSafe, that bothers me. Because I said that's a genuine Apple MagSafe, and it's having problems reading that. So I've got a little bit more work to dig around. This may still fall down to being an SMC problem. I don't know yet. More work to be done. Alright, well I'm going to leave this for tomorrow. At least initially we've gotten this far. So thank you DefPom for kicking me enough to make me get around to actually doing the keyboard reset. Alright, that's it. I'm out of here. I'll catch you all next time. Take care. See you later.